In the previous movie, which I'll link to in the notes below, I showed you how to import an image sequence into Krita and then trace over that and do a cleanup version of the original animation using material I made for one of my courses that I created for LinkedIn Learning or lynda.com. Again, more notes to those if you want them in the notes below. So what I wanted to do was take a closer look at this and see if there's any mistakes before I kind of package this up, or little fixes that we can do, things that could be in need of a correction or improvement, because it's good to be able to run diagnostics. One thing about me and my background is that I'm not an effects animator natively. It kind of doesn't come to me naturally. Some people just fall into it and they're really good at it. I've begrudgingly developing the ability to do this kind of stuff, and I really do enjoy it when it comes together. And this is a nice little smoke cloud, and especially if you go far out, I think it plays really nice. There are things wrong with it, and I'll show you what they are, but we're kind of getting away with them. So what I want you to get out of this is sometimes you can make mistakes and they kind of feel okay. And this is the weird thing about effects animation that drove me nuts when I worked for Bluth back in the 80s, early 90s. We were told it's not like character animation. It doesn't have to be exactly between the other two drawings. The line can fluctuate a little bit. You can get away with a lot, and sometimes it looks better. And that wrecked my head because I like things to be a little more predictable than that. So I'm going to show you some things here that I wonder, is this still okay or have I gone too far? So I'll call this layer Newts and right click on here, just make it orange so it kind of stands out on the timeline here. I'm just going to make a bunch of empty keyframes so we can make sure that I'm not seeing them appear. I wonder, is there a glitch again? Krita is prone to the occasional glitch. There we go. So now if I select to here, it's made a bunch of empty frames, which is good. So I'm going to put the finished file in a link on my Patreon because I want people to be able to download the finished work and use it if they like in their own projects, learn from it, and that'll come with a public domain license that will allow you to use it as you see fit. So anyway, I'll just go through the layers again in case this is your first time here. So we have the cleanup line layer, which I've done with this nice brush tool here. And again, custom brush that I've made, notes for that below. Color set area for the shadow layer, and then a white layer. Now in this one, I'm just working with the white. I'm not doing anything extra because we're going to be making some fixes here. So on the notes layer, what I want to do is pick like a really bright color and get my brush tool and use like a hard brush. And as we go through frame by frame, I'm just going to look at it for things that jump out. And one thing that jumps out is this ball here, and I'm going to change the blend mode of this to multiply. So you just go to that part there and multiply, and that way we can see the line as I'm drawing over it. It looks better. So that jumps out. Where did that thing go? Pop and then back on again. So I would probably like to, just give the sense that maybe it's breaking up here. And I'm going to put these rough corrections on here so you can see my thinking process. And the other thing too, we have this big white ball. I'll pick a different color for this one. Where did this guy come from? There's nothing there. Where's that come from? So maybe we want to have, either we get rid of it or we have something here that's like bigger than that, and these two, possibly this. So it's sort of disintegrating like that. And this one here could be perceived as coming out of this area. So I think we might get away with that. Here we have, and again, we have this explosion that's moving out in every direction from a point of origin. So we have, and I'll pick a different color for these. So it seems to be going off almost at the wrong angle. So I think what will spare us that would be this. So they seem to be breaking off in different directions, or we could move this thing over, but I think that's okay. We'll get away with that. And here we have this big ball, which could be a part of this block here. I'll pick a different color here too, so I can talk about them more easily as well. Okay, so this pink ball, the brain will accept that. But we might make this one here a bit bigger and maybe pull the whole thing to there. And I think that'll be a more subtle transition. I don't have a sponsor, so if you want to support my work and help it to continue, you can subscribe to my Patreon. I'm making new animation projects week by week and providing animation assets that can be downloaded and used. I also have a very large collection of tutorials in the LinkedIn Learning library covering animation and design, and I'm putting all the links to these in the notes below. And the other thing that we can do as well is just break things up a little bit. We can add some smaller poofs like that. And here as well, I think you should have like a healthy variety of big, medium, and small, and just arrange them slightly irregularly. And I think that also helps to cheat things, because then it's more chaos for our poor adult brains to try to make sense of. So here we have, I'm going to copy this color here, and my brain is reading this sphere here is coming from there. And then poof, nothing. So maybe let's just help that to read as a disintegration. And what I'm going to do then is go back and draw all these as we go through this whole. The other thing that's happening here is much more serious. This seems to be hitting this area here, and let's pick a new color for you. So we have this area here, and then it seems to stick. What's it hitting? It's being pushed out. We follow that area. So this blue point here is expanding and churning. So there's definitely chaos there, but that doesn't mean it should just hit that wall like that. So I think the solution is just to move this entire area out, up just a bit. Doesn't have to be too much. And actually, if we see the outer point there, we could actually redraw that entirely. So let's do that. So on the cleanup layer, I'm going to eyeball this, select that too. So that already might be a bit better, but it can be kind of hard to eyeball it. So let's use onion skin. And to really see onion skin, I'm just going to go to the line, cleanup line layer by itself, onion skin on, and make it visible. And we need to also get rid of that kind of blue background, so I'm going to hit FX so we can just look at the line layer by itself. I know this can be a little kind of dizzying, but let me switch it onion off again. So the trouble spot was about here. Let's put onion on. So I think already that's going to improve things a lot. So I think it should also be, go to brush, I'm going to erase some of this here and just make this a little bigger too. I think it's coming on, it's reducing to a smaller size too much. Okay, onion off, there to here to there. And there's definitely the need of some forward motion here. We have this ball here, turns to here, and then it seems to sort of move sideways almost. So let's select that and move that out again. And I'm going to add a few more smaller areas that are breaking up. And what these do again, they just make a little bit of visual chaos. So our brains can maybe read that a little better. Now let's play this by itself. And that's fine. So the other thing I want to do, switch off the background, put on the white layer, and we need to fix the white layer there because that will be on that frame anyway. Need to be fixed. So I think the fastest way is just get rid of the area that's damaged. Make sure we're on the white layer, and I'm just going to use the lasso tool, draw around these. I think that'll do for that one. Let me make that white. Fill tool. I've made a shortcut F on the keyboard, and that allows me to very quickly find the fill tool. Brush tool is B, and get the hard brush for this. It might be quicker to make sure eraser is off. Quicker to just use the brush tool for these, for such small shapes, because you can just dot in the color area. And I'm going to put the background back on and put the sky color back on, because then we see the really strong contrast. So let's put the notes layer back on too and just make some of those smaller fixes. But I do want to go through a little more and see if I've missed anything else. So we're going from here. Now this area here is fairly big, it seems to pop off, so let's just make a couple there. You have a big area here, it seems to disappear. And again, I think it's easier to cheat that if we just put some smaller breakups. Here again, I think just a couple of little dots, maybe here too, 1, 2. Again, we want to make sure we have that consistent concentric outward movement. See at the top here, this one seems to disappear completely, and just having as little as that will be enough, I think, to know that we've done something. So let's just go through and make those little fixes. And again, I want to make sure we're working on the right layer. So we're on the line cleanup layer using the right brush tool. And I'm just going to go to the areas that we targeted. That's fine. I want to draw in, and we need to put the white layer in. So I'll do that as well. I'll use the lasso tool for that. There's also like a big bulge there, and I think it's too big. Huge momentum there, and it just disappears. So we need to break it up here with some smaller bits or bring in this area. I think I favor bringing it in a little bit, but I think I had it there because it kind of evens out the donut. So let's get to that in a moment. So let me go to the line layer, get rid of that. Okay, so I fixed the most egregious ones, and let's see if that's looking better. It'll be very hard to determine how much of a change this makes because the whole thing goes by so quickly. But I'm certainly noticing that these two poofs here should definitely go a little further up that way. So let's just draw a line around them, and we want to match the white. I need to find out if there's a way to select across layers. I bet there is, and I'm just not seeing it. So now this poof here moves doesn't stick. Now the other thing that I flagged earlier was this part here. If I put the notes on, you'll see, actually I don't need them anymore really. So this bulge here moves from here to here and then seems to move back. The inside's moving forward fine, but that outer layer could possibly catch the eye here. Let's play that through and see if we can notice it. Now I have to be honest, I'm really not, but I don't want to take the chance. So let's just add a little bit of TLC to this. And I'm going to put the notes layer back on and just deselect everything, delete it. And what I want to do is to sketch in roughly where I think we should be heading. So if we have this area here, moves to there should surely be something up here. And that will be part of that massive cloud beginning to break up. Hopefully that'll do it. So I'll go back and fix that now. Okay, so nothing's popping. And that's good. So one reason why I'm being so picky about that is right now it's going by on wands. But what if we wanted hypothetically to slow this down and put in-betweens in? At that point, some of these things that I'm seeing might start becoming a problem. So let's see if I can duplicate, or rather extend this a little bit. So this would be a much bigger poof, therefore moving a little more slowly. I was thinking of the other one like, flour in the face or something like that. But this would be like maybe a big sack of flour impacting the ground. So it would take a bit longer to transition. Now, the more mistakes we have, or the more things that might be not moving at a believable speed, the better the chance we would have of the eye being triggered by it and going, there's something not right there. But I'm not being too bothered by this. I think this is working okay. The little irregularities seem to be fine. There might be an area here where things seem to move a little bit in the wrong direction. Let me go through here. So there's something breaking up at a area here that I don't quite like. This big area here seems to disappear to nothing. We're sort of getting away with it, but it does seem like these areas here are moving that direction, which I don't want to feel that's happening. So I think the solution to that is to have a larger area of white. I'm going to put on the notes layer. So something is moving this way and that way. Let's make this bigger. I'll make it a different color. So we'll just make that blob area about this. And then on this frame, we'll have just a slightly larger area here just to catch the eye. And I think that'll work fine. So what I also want to do is bring these back onto wands. Okay, so I think call it at that. That's a nice little poof. Let me switch this back to 11 frames. I'd like to slow this back down to wands again. And a good test is to zoom out as far as Krita will let us, and this is as small as I can go with it. That's looking really nice. So if that was appearing in a platform side-scrolling game, every time like you hit an object, that would be pleasant enough to see. And if we go in close, I'm not seeing anything jag the eye. So that's pretty dandy. So I'm going to save this. I'm happy with that. This can always be improved. But I think for what we have here, it's pretty great. So again, the final version of this will be available to my Patreons on the $10 flat layer. There'll be a $5 layer for those who want to hear me rattle on about stories and my opinions. And if you have questions, you can feel free to ask them and I'll try to answer as best I can. And the 10 layer, I'm just going to put like project files and things that I've been building up over the years. And you're going to be able to have a license to use them as ever you see fit. If you want to incorporate anything here in a project of yours, I'm not going to sick the lawyers on you. Anyway, in the next movie, we'll apply the color layer and the shading layer, and that'll be the final version that I will put up for the Patreons. So you'll have the white layer that you can modify to your heart's desire, and then the layer with the color steps and a bit of like gradients on it too. And I think that'll be good to be getting on with. So like and subscribe means a lot to me, and see you in the next movie.